So, it's day 23 of the government shutdown, and I just want to bring a couple facts to light despite the media's drilling into us of the Democrats stonewalling the funding bills, okay? So, first things first, let's start with a brief little run through of Congress, right? So, I want everybody to remember that legislation cannot be passed into law unless it is approved by the House of Representatives and the United States Senate. Both of those, not one, not a half of one, not a quarter of one. The House of Representatives and the United States Senate have to agree on the same thing for it to become legislation, okay? Also, want to throw out there that only the House of Representatives can write funding appropriations bills, okay? They're the only body of Congress that can draft funding measures to fund the federal government. Okay, now let's rewind a bit. Today is Sunday, day 23. Okay, we'll start at Wednesday and Thursday afternoon. The Democrats began drafting separate funding bills for three different bodies of government. One of them was the Transportation Department, one of them was like HUD and Housing, and one of them was the IRS, like Internal Revenue Service. They drafted three spending bills to try to get those parts of government up and running again and send funding through for them so people who work in those sectors of the government could at least start getting paychecks again. Okay. And that's really important because that was like all over the news Thursday and Friday. Like it was like breaking, breaking, breaking. Democrats are pushing through bills of funding in the House. And everybody was just kind of like, okay, maybe it's a little bit of hope. Now, let's get into the nitty gritty of the stuff that's really going on. All right, so we have the House of Representatives and we have the lovely United States Senate, who is following the leadership of the Majority Leader, Mitch McConnell, okay, from great old Kentucky. Mitch McConnell has thrown out there into the media that he is not voting on any funding bills in the United States Senate that do not include funding for the wall. Okay, he nor any member of the Senate will vote on any funding measures unless they include funding for the wall. Okay, so that means all those breaking alerts we got on Thursday and Friday really were kind of like null and void because even if the Dems and the Republicans in the House of Representatives agreed on those three or four little funding measures that they pushed through, they ultimately weren't going anywhere or doing anything because the Senate did not agree to vote on them. But what did happen on Thursday was Tim Kaine, who we know because he was picked as Hillary Clinton's running mate for the presidential election. Great guy from Virginia. He actually is a sitting member on the United States Senate. He let Mitch McConnell and the rest of the Senate know on Thursday afternoon that he would not vote on a resolution for government funding once they decide to push anything through if it did not include back pay for the 800,000 federal workers who were out of work. Okay. He held them kind of like to this thing and waited until he got a verbal agreement, which Mitch McConnell called Trump, and Trump agreed on the phone that he would agree to signing legislation to back pay all of the employees who have been put out in the midst of this government shutdown. Now, that was a really, really good thing because that's something that wasn't guaranteed before, and also is kind of stands true to who Tim Kaine is because he really campaigned on behalf of workers unions in Virginia when he was running. Okay, so that made the news and it was breaking news. Everybody was like, oh my God, federal workers will get back pay. What are we going to do? We're still in a government shutdown. Everybody's like, well, why won't the Democrats just come to some sort of agreement for the wall? Well, the United States government actually has legislation that was passed by President Bush. It's called the Secure Fence Act of 2006. The Secure Fencing Act of 2006 actually outlines our immigration policy as it pertains to policing, maintaining, and securing the southern border fence. So it's really the Democrats are not really holding up anything right now because at the end of the day, to get the government up and running, it's not necessary that any funding be required for a southern border wall. Right now, the country is just holding off until someone either brings this fact to light or someone gives in and gives President Trump and the Republicans the conversation or a promise that they deem worthy enough to push through with their border wall promise. But right now, it's no telling how long it's going to take for a resolution.